that will give you the game, because not only there's an Aegis here, there's cheese, so you can risk trying to get it. Oh, that region rune is so lucky for Havos. He will now be at full health, but no one feels safe enough to take it, because of course Hao is alive and Sansheng is alive. Sansheng will have the Doom any minute now, and Hao can infest pretty much at any moment. So
you do have to question, why is Havost leading these ganks though?
Because it's Havos. It's a 9-point carry.
You have a 4-position. You have a 4-position Alk with a Shadow Blade and an AC. He's important to his team, but if they focus him, that means Havost isn't getting focused. So I wouldn't mind seeing him lead the way. I wouldn't mind seeing Dendi lead the way. But well, they're leading with Havost, and fortunately he had buyback. A little bit too far out, I feel, in that case.
It was a little bit too far out, I agree, but I mean, you have to take some risks at some point, and I kind of understand Havos' eagerness to just get to the Roche pit. Maybe they, definitely they didn't know it was here.
He's going Lincolns here, I think, Bruno. Ultimate Orb pickup. This is a big item. Honestly, Na'Vi could use quite a few Lincoln Spheres.
Who's going that?
Havost, it looks like.
Havos?
He picked up an Ultimate Orb. It could be an Knife Skatey, but that's kind of weird. Well, we'll go in now.
Oh, no,
Stun from Puppey is going to find Banana at the neutrals. Now Havost pops a BKB and goes to work on him. Moo on the backside. Oh no, Havost just got abyssal. Hal trying to bring him down. He gets purged as well.
Wow,
the wall. This could be bad for Tongfu, but they're still fighting in the wall. It's actually going surprisingly well for them so far. Kuroki has cornered Sangshang. He will fall. Without Havost, can they still fight their way out? Remember, he bought back earlier. He doesn't have it now. A Doom for a Luna. Your final trade for that fight.
I don't know. I mean, it's so even.
Is it worth it?
It's so even. I don't know who won there.
This Luna, to quote a famous Chinese philosopher who works for Beyond the Summit, does some big swag YOLO deeps here, Bruno. quite a few deeps coming out from him.
She certainly does some deeps. And now there's wow. I mean, this pipe on Clockwork should have been there quite a long time ago. I can't believe this is a 52-minute game.
I can't already.
I feel it's a 30 minutes game so far. So much action going on. So many things. It really is going fast.
71 kills. We did see before the draft even ended. It's like you look at these picks. A lot of heroes are going to die this game. That was pretty much a given. But quite this many, not so sure. And now Hal's upgraded his inventory. He got an ultra kill 2 fights ago without this assault crest. Now he has one. Could be the difference maker here. He's going to walk into the Roche pit.
Hao cares about nothing. He's like, I don't care about being revealed.
Come at me, bro. Come at me.
Yeah, he counts. He has the assault curious. He has the
Pops out a stun. Moo's going to BKB dodge it. That means no Storm BKB. But if Tongfu get the Roche, it will be worth it. Remember,
there's cheese.
Remember, there's no Luna in this fight. So Na'Vi could go for an Age of Steel, but I don't think they want to fight 5v5 here. Roche dropping low. Moo on the high ground. He's looking for those cheeky plays. The orb comes in from Dendi. It's a bit too soon. Now Funnick blinks forward. Dendi jumps in. He wants the Aegis. He gets it. He gets the Aegis. Oh, not again. Dendi has somehow done it. But if he goes down here, that could be costly. Puppey in the pit. They're all in the pit. The wall's there. Dendi's still alive. He falls once. That was his entire life. All of that just to kill him one time. Moo has tried to evacuate the Lifestealer. Bring me home, he says. Havost is back in the action. He's popped a BKB, a grip on Sangshang. He's going to hit the deck. Puppey marching forward. He sees blood in the water, or he smells it and he wants more. Banana should fall. Dendi will finish off the kill. Actually, yes, it goes to him. Sangshang on the run. Tries to escape. Lucent beam to the face, and I think this Doom, even with the Shivas, even with his ice armor, 27 armor, it doesn't matter. Maybe it does. Here comes Moo. We're not done just yet. Hang on to your hat. Still going to work. This Lifestealer is fat. He's furious. Great defensive sleep. Bind some time. It's enough. Kuroki does it. Moo to fall. Team wipe for Na'Vi.
Oh.
Go! Jesus, these fights, man. This is only game 1, by the way. In case you're just tuning in, guys.
It's a pretty nice way to start the series.
What are these fights? 77 kills, 54 minutes in, and Na'Vi, they might have just won the game off of that. A lot of buybacks.
Pretty sure they won.
A lot of buybacks not available. The only heroes that have it are on their side. They're fighting their way through backdoor protection. Creep wave is coming soon. They'll have like 40 seconds to just throw it and win the game.
There's no glyph for Tongfu either, so suddenly these towers will start melting very fast. There's King Jay can jump and make a noble sacrifice, but I don't think that will stop them for more than 2 or 3 seconds. And there's 50 seconds until the Lifestealer comes, 40 seconds until the Storm Spirit comes.
This means 2 racks. Thrown it here. I guess they don't realize that the buybacks are on cooldown, but they'll go for 2 or maybe even 3 lanes of racks. That's probably GG anyway, but if Na'Vi knew, they could definitely kill the throw during this time. They'll play it safe. They'll take 2 lanes of racks. Still 25 seconds to go. It could even be 3. Let's see if they're going to back off here. What a spectacular performance from them thus far. 2 Aegis steals by Dendi. I mentioned he's been absolutely essential to them, more so than pretty much any other 2 position for players in this tournament, and boy, has he delivered. My goodness. They were hating on him, too. That Shadowblade Doom gank earlier, his blink was delayed, and still, he hasn't gone on tilt. He's found a way to make huge plays for his team.
It's what he's done. He's the MVP by far of the game. I don't know. I mean, when you get... It's like the stars align for this guy to do all this stuff. But then again, it's Dendi, so it surprises no one.
He aligns the stars, Bruno.
He aligns the stars
That's
himself.
what Dendi means in Russian. I don't know if you knew that.
Let's say it does. Okay.
Star aligner.
Starliner. Perfect.
That would actually be a pretty cool name.
Starliner sounds like an...
Star aligner.
No.
I guess
Yeah.
Starliner sounds nicer.
Yeah. But
Sounds like a boat that takes you to a happy place. But here come Na'Vi down the top lane.
Sounds
Do
like
they,
an
do, they,
airline.
do they just go for the gusto here and try and force it? Or
Well,
do you just wait and play it safe?
well, I mean... this is Tongfu's move right now. They have to do something. They can't wait. They probably have to push this lane away a little bit. This is not the lane you want to try and get. You have to get one of the 2 lanes that you lost back by getting a fight where you can take the Raxis. If you take the top Raxis, you still have 2 big Raxis pushing against you, which is really bad. But, I mean, Na'Vi can sit down and wait. They can farm their jungle, they can farm the enemy's jungle, they can farm the Asians. There's still about long time to the next Aegis, about 6 minutes. So, the ball is on Tongfu's side of the map.
Oh, now things get a lot harder. Now there's a Lincoln Sphere on Havost. And if he pops a BKB, then there's nothing they could target it with to remove this Lincoln Sphere, except Doom, which will be blocked by the Lincoln. So in theory, Havost is basically invulnerable. Oh, the Abyssal Blade, that's true. Didn't think about that. But they'll have to use both of them just to lock Havost down in these fights, which isn't ideal, to say the least.
It's going to be tough, unless you can pop the Lincoln before before he goes on BKB, then you're pretty much screwed right now. Dendi also 3.6k gold. He can decide to go for... He could be cheeky and go for what's the name of the thing? The thing that you go with the evil song and goes up to
Ethereal Blade.
Ethereal Blade, yes, thank you.
It's a great item against Lifestealer.
Yes.
There's no Diffusal Blades on Tongfu. There's no way to purge the Ghost form. And
I mean, yeah, he can rage out of it, but...
Well, yeah, no, but you can just Ethereal Blade your teammates.
Yeah.
One of the new buffs to this item, actually.
Right.
And then they waste a lot of precious seconds of that rage, not able to focus anybody down. And that's the point that Na'Vi are at this game. With Lincoln Sphere on Havost, BKB on 2, as well as Kuroki's picked one up, as well as just mass Force Stabs and Ghost Scepters. They just have to live through that burst damage, and I think they're at that point where now Havost almost has a Satanic. If he gets that, watch out. I don't think they can burst him at that point. They'll go on him now. They've broken the Lincoln Sphere. They've gotten the Doom off, and Havost never got off his BKB, so they didn't even have to use anything for it. Kuroki gets off a full duration feed script. The Cogs no longer doing anything to stop that. It does a lot of work, but nobody dead yet on the side of Tongfu. Tongsheng on the run, and I think it might be enough. There was a buyback from Havost. He tries to fight his way out. How is going so hard on Puppey right here? Defensive sleep, not sufficient. Tongfu, the lane's pushing in. Their base is burning, but they're still fighting on. Coming back into the fight will be Puppey. Self-stuns under cover of Shadowblade, and the chase is on. Dendi wants to jump into this. He blinks. He silences. They did force out a Havost buyback. If he dies again, and Tongfu have most of their heroes up, maybe they can go for the throne, but Na'Vi might still be able to just push into the base here.
That's not enough. Like, Kvos is now with the team again. He's full life, he's ahead. He popped the Manta, he has the BKB ready. If the Lincoln is on cooldown, which right now it is, they don't have a Doom to kill him. I don't know.
Here we go. Jump in from Funnick. Back is there. The orb splashes through. BKB is coming out for Havost this time. Eclipse pops as well. Tongfu dropping low to those bouncing glaives. They're slashing and all over the place. Hao trying to fight his way out against Puppey. Can he do it? He brings down Puppey. He's got an armlet toggle. His armlet is off, and he will fall. Ultra kill for Havost. Too many glaives, too fast, too furious. Tongsheng can just barely remove this Lincoln Sphere. Storm on the sidelines. Lifestealer buyback comes back into the fray. Biz chopping away at Havost now. Havost no Manta. Havost on the run. And the chase goes on Funnick with a two-hero coil. Buying time and space. And Havost says, I'm going in, baby. I'm going in. Somebody come with me, please. Dendi will snipe one on the backside. Havost Mantas. But he got bashed. If he gets bashed again, he could fall. No MKB on House, so it's not the easiest kill. But still he chases the surge from Funnick, keeping him alive. They are giving everything they have in this game. But Hao gets stunned. Puppey with the big backstab. And at long last, I think Na'Vi may have just done it. 4 heroes dead for Tongfu. Buybacks available on no one. freaking G. 60-minute win for Na'Vi.
Wow. 86 kills in 60 minutes. This is just one of those games that you will remember for months, maybe years.
I think Na'Vi might still have it, Bruno.
Yeah, I think Na'Vi has proved that they're a pretty good team. And even against Chinese teams, one of the best Chinese teams even. They have a few tricks under their sleeves. And they won here pretty convincingly, not because they were super ahead, but because in those close games they knew how to do the things right. They knew how to take advantages where there were disadvantages, and they have Dendi.
Seriously, they have Dendi. He stole 2 Aegises. Without that, I think Tongfu would just take this game.
Yeah.
That really was the difference.
That was clutch. I don't think without that, I mean, because the first Aegis, they were losing the game.
Yeah.
At the moment that Dendi takes the first Aegis, Na'Vi was at a clear disadvantage.
They had the better 5-man lineup, and they couldn't fight.
No.
That's how far behind they were.
Sansheng, let's go again to that guy. I mean, he deserves a special mention. He finished level 22. I mean, some heroes were level 25, of course, but he got a lot. 393 gold per minute in a Doom, which is not super high, but they were losing, which is always something that takes your gold per minute a little bit below. And he was not expected to get nearly as much farm. But
Doom is a hero that kind of falls off in the late game.
Yeah.
Low base armor, no real steroid skill to speak of unless you eat an Alpha Wolf, which is at best. Melee hero just doesn't offer you as much as some other hard carries. And went for mid-game items as well. But ultimately, I mean, this is all just chit-chat. The big thing was Dendi stealing 2 Aegises, Na'Vi finding a way to take game 1. Well, Bruno, we better save our voices because we do have a game 2 and 3 coming up. Lumi, Merlini, how are you guys holding up?
Well, yeah, those Aegis steals were definitely the highlight of the game, but some other smaller things. I think the early game went very well for Na'Vi. They actually shut down the Clockwork very hard with just a support Alchemist. That's huge. If you can win your lane that handily in a 2 versus 1, that's just amazing.
I actually thought that was the biggest kind of factor that wasn't really talked too much about. He was 115-14, the Clockwork score, 115-14. And you know, I don't want to. I generally hate pointing out a single player and in terms of blaming the entire game on him. But Clockwork not being able to get an Aegis, or not Aegis, Aegis is on my mind. Not being able to get a mech mid game forced the Doom to get the mech, and he was having the 1-row Doom farm, right? He should have been getting Radiance AC Shiva. He should have been in the front line. But because the mech never came for Tongfu, Doom was forced to get it, and you lost the carry, basically.
I think Na'Vi executed a lot of fights well. One particular one, when both of them smoked all the way around, Tongfu was trying to pick a fight at nighttime versus a Luna. Havos was very far behind at that point. He had a BKB, but with the night vision, he can always pop the BKB before they see them, and then he'll get off his Eclipse, and the fight they just got completely owned there, and the momentum of the game completely shifted, and that was around the time of the Aegis, and that's when Na'Vi started getting out of control. Na'Vi did an excellent job of recovering, though. Contrary to the Clockwork, who pretty much just fed for the entirety of the game.
I mean, he's a clock.
He's a clock.
I don't want to be hard to King J. He hooks in and he's died. That's his job.
Havost had ridiculous amounts of items, even considering that he died a lot early game. So did Denny. Denny died a couple of times.
Sorry, I have to interrupt you right now. Of course he does have items. He's a 9 carry.
Anyways, so Dendi had insane amounts of items too. He had a Ghost Scepter, he had a Sheep, he had a Blink, he had those Aegis steals. Those were so important to them winning the fights. Also some nice defensive sleeps by Kuroki. Nice transition from Puppy's Alchemist into a later Bash Lord. And the item progression on Tongfu was just a little bit weak. Again, Doom doesn't scale very well. I also didn't like his Doom targets too much. One time he doomed Luna before she got her BKB off. That was huge. But once she gets her BKB off, she's just going to crush people. I think dooming someone like Puck would have just been huge for them. The longer he sticks around, the more annoying he is. He can actually kill Lifestealer later with the silence. I thought that was very instrumental in them losing the fight, just not dooming the correct target. You can do him Bane, but he's pretty useless. You can just silence him with whatever silence you have. You have an Orchid on a Storm, you have Sheep, you have Abyssal, you can just right click. And if they had like MKB on the Lifestealer, I think it would have been a lot easier, but he just got kited so hard just because the items on Na'Vi were just so much better. They clearly outplayed Tongfu in the fights though.
I'm glad you used the word outplay because that's the same word in my mind.
Yeah.
This is actually one of the hardest outplay I have ever seen in this high-level game. Tongfu, they play well. They have some misplays, but that's to be expected. You know, they're still humans despite being professional players. But Kuroki, I know Bruno called him out as not a true support at heart, but he had one of the best support games I've ever seen from a professional Bane. This was a BKB Bane, channeling full grips, has some of the best Nightmare to detoggle. He would Nightmare target, hit the target to get the Nightmare back and debuff and detoggle. It was mind-blowing.
Pretty disgusting.
And of course, we have to end on a high note. Dendi stealing multiple Aegis. It blew my mind completely. S4, I called him the best West solo mid. I'm taking that back. Dendi is the best solo mid of West.
Well played by Navi there.
Yeah.
I also think Tongfu had a little bit lacking in the AoE. They had a lot of single target with Storm and Nyx and Doom, but again, they won the early part of the game, but simply just got outplayed in the last 35 minutes of the game.
Yep.
That was a great play by Navi. Excited to see game 2. You said that we might have a more exciting series. Definitely not the case.
Well, who knows how game 2 and game 3 go. We'll see if it's going to be as exciting, and you guys don't go anywhere because it's going to be back very soon. The players are joining in the lobby, and yeah, get your coffee, get your popcorn because it's going to be a exciting best of 3, hopefully.
Well, apparently we still have 2 more games to cast after that first one.
Apparently.
Yeah, I don't know if they can even come close to living up to
Wait.
it.
What do you mean 2?
Yeah, well, potentially 2 games.
Okay, up to 2. I'm like, well.
At least one more game for sure. Navi, it's a best of 3 versus Tongfu. Your upper bracket, second round match between Navi and Tongfu. Navi, they lead 1-0. I don't know how, but somehow they do.
I know how. Starts with a D.
Ends with an ND.
Okay, well, you could have gone to dark places there.
Could I?
Yeah, starts with a D. You went with Dandy. It's the easy choice. Okay.
Okay. Well,
Fair
we'll
enough.
try and keep it clean and professional as the kids are awake. So with that being said, game 2 now underway. Let's hop into the draft.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be Tongfu on the Dire side, Navi on the Radiant. And the Lifestealer that worked so well for Tongfu in game 1, and it did work well even though they lost, will go to Navi this time. And Tongfu picked one of the best heroes to punish that, which is, in the laning stage at least, which is a Weaver.
Weaver is really nice. I mean, now there's even the potential to go 3 if they want as well, which is a combination that works really, really well. But I have to say, this Navi lineup kind of looks more like a Navi lineup to me at the moment. Shadow Demon, Lifestealer, it opens up so many things. Now, Dendy can go Storm Spirit if he wants, if it wasn't banned. But there's such an array of heroes that he can play mid, and whatever they pick mid will set the tempo. Because if they pick a ganky hero kind of like Puck, they will open the lanes just for Lifestealer to play. If they pick a farming hero mid like Dragon Knight, or maybe even if it's not picked as much, Templar Assassin, they will run for a dual core that will try to get their first item, let's say Armlet on Lifestealer and Blink Dagger on Templar Assassin, for example, and just try to go fight right away. I mean, they have so many options right now. Navi bans the Dragon Knight, which makes me a very happy person. And Tongfu on the other side, they have 2 very strong heroes that deal lots of physical damage. They will have to find some kind of magical damage to offset these, otherwise they will putting all the eggs in one basket.
Yeah, I like the Alchemist and Weaver picks a lot because the Swarm goes through Rage and Acid Spray, the minus armor, does as well.
Yes.
That means Lifestealer will not be nearly as tanky as he normally is in the team fight. So, smart there. And the one thing is they've already picked up probably two of their farmers with these picks. Although, as I say that, we saw a 4-position outclass game.
Yeah.
So who knows what's going to happen here. Very standard from Navi. Much more of what we've been seeing from them in the European scene, the Western scene lately. The Funnick Prophet, probably a Havos Lifestealer. And then we just need our Dendy hero. Puck got banned out. Storm got banned out. Some target bans towards Dendy here in the second stage.
Do you see a Magnus potentially in this lineup?
Magnus? Tongfu?
No, for Navi. Magnus RP with Lifestealer infested inside him. I mean, it's a possibility. I'm
it
not
depends.
a fan.
Magnus isn't necessarily the best pick if they have a dual or a tricore, because especially mobile heroes like Weaver, it's kind of hard to lock them all down, and then you don't have much follow-up lockdown. I think Puck would have been perfect, especially against Weaver, but it did get banned. Maybe I mean, yeah, a hero who can build an Orchid or a hero who's got a great stun. So either a Mag or something like a Queen of Pain would be my choice here.
Queen of Pain is one of Dendy's best heroes by far.
I think something like a Templar Assassin would probably be a mistake because they're lacking on lockdown here. So
the problem that I see if you pick actually Queen of Pain is that Weaver actually does pretty well in the mid lane against the Queen of Pain. He can get the runes. He can disjoint all of the Shadow Strikes. It's surprisingly good hero. I mean, I haven't seen it in the pro, like in an official pro match.
It actually happened yesterday, but if you pull the Queen of Pain Sentries, which they actually did in there.
Did it?
Yeah, it did.
Wow.
Remember, you
I was like casting that
you
game.
were like half here.
Oh,
I don't know if you were casting.
Yeah, I was like half asleep, half alive. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice matchup. You have to pull sentries, which is also an expenditure on the side of the supports. Navi will go for Rubik, so now we know that Kuroki will be playing that hero. Kind of weak supports in terms of potential damage.
It's very unusual to see Rubik and Shadow Demon, unless it's a solo mid Rubik this game, which maybe it could be. Maybe we're looking at a Kuroki, Shadow Demon, a Dendy Rubik. Go back to the International 2, you look at the highlight reels, like half of them are Dendy stealing Ravage, and whoever the commentator was at the time losing his mind.
The problem with the...
He made some 3 or 4 position players very sad in that event.
He definitely did. The problem that Rubik going mid is that he doesn't do as well with the farm. Of course, he needs the levels. The Blink Dagger is kind of cute on the Rubik, but I mean, kind of a necessity as well. But after the Blink Dagger, you don't really need much more.
It's really good against Weaver. If you steal Sakuchi,
you're like,
you can... Yeah, exactly. Whee! it's hard for anybody to get away from you, and it's also hard for them to chase you down. So what is Tongfu going to go for? They've picked up probably their 3 farmers already, and I imagine we'll need to see 2 supports from them. Na'Vi have taken the 2 premier supports, if they are, Shadow Demon and Rubik, and now Tongfu, they don't really have any... I mean, they're a bit lacking, I guess, in terms of team fight. They have Acid Spray, they have a Shackle Shot, but something maybe along the lines of a Clockwork to help control the Lifestealer might be a decent choice here.
Yeah, I mean, they have lots of things they can go for. The only thing that they have to be careful is whatever they pick can be stolen by the Rubik. So you do not want anything with a big defining spell.
I don't think we'll see a Magnus, for example.
Well, an Enigma as well, for example. A Sand King is possible.
Yeah, actually that makes... I mentioned Clockwork, and I say that because Tongfu ran like 4.5 farming heroes last game.
Right.
But Sand King, more of a standard support. Nice, reliable, instant stun. It is, however, one of the best spells in the game for Rubik to steal. Now he can steal Sakuchi, Shackle Shot, and Burrow Strike. Especially if it's a mid-Rubik, it's a lot easier to get those spells. You get early farm, you get early items. Blink Dagger, Force Staff. Much harder for Sand King to protect that.
Yes, but we will be seeing what happens if Dendi will be playing that Rubik or not. The ban of an Enchantress makes me think that actually it's kind of weird, because one would expect Alchemist to be the guy with the supports, right? Weaver can solo, Windrunner can solo. Alchemist and Sand King, 2 melee heroes. You wouldn't want a jungler with that, because otherwise that would make your lane really weak. So I would expect either an Alchemist support and some surprise pick right here, or a support that gives you range and gives you potential to control the lane. Otherwise, Alchemist and Sand King going to be very sad.
Well, maybe it's a Treant Protector. Gives you no lane control.
There's a possibility of a Windrunner support as well, I have to say.
Yeah, I think we did mention that earlier. Maybe it's a Treant. Goes really well with Weaver. Very hard to kill a Windrunner there. Na'Vi will go for the mag, so they're running a support Shadow Demon Rubik, and the one big issue with running these 2 both as supports is they lack damage. They lack...
Especially when you have a Lifestealer that has no nuke. There's no nuke in that lane.
Yeah,
or not a Fate Bolt, but
they do have a lot of lockdown, so it might be hard for that offlaner, be it a Weaver or Windrunner, especially if you have sentries for the Weaver, but their burst damage is mediocre at best. And Na'Vi do get a decent amount of burst here with the mag, but even he's a bit lacking with RP being nerfed from 150 to 50 damage at level 1.
Yep, the other problem that we'll have is, unless a Nature's Prophet have a good game, it's kind of hard to defend against early pushes. Of course, with Tongfu's lineup, I wouldn't be so scared. But if you have an early push, you have a Fate Bolt that, because it's a support, is going to be very slow. And speaking of pushes, here comes the Chen. And now again, I don't understand these lanes. Unless the Windrunner... No, Windrunner
it's
is
a support Sand King and Chen. So we'll see a Windrunner